Yesterday evening, I spoke only partially about how we know the way only after we complete our journey. I told you about my early education, school education, up to the Cambridge school certificate, as it was called then, which is now the 12th board, a little more than the 12th board this year. And then the dinner bell interrupted us. Today, I wish to complete that because that dealt with the Christian part of my, shall we say, introduction to the philosophies of life. One part where I learnt about the values of mercy, compassion, love. See, love being predominant. And as you know, Sahaj Marg also sees only love. If you have been reading the messages of the whispers, it's all love. There's nothing but love. Love goes beyond everything else. Beyond justice, one can ask, you see. Because those of you who are familiar with Shakespeare and about that portion dealing with Shylock, the Jew who wanted his pound of flesh, and Portia insisting on the law, you see. She said, the law must be fulfilled. The demands of justice must be fulfilled. So you said 1 pound of flesh, you shall have your 1 pound of flesh. But no more, not 1 drop less of blood, not one drop more, but be precise. No, Shylock knew, as we all know, that it is impossible to cut off a living person, part of him, precisely to give you 1 year. He was stumped. See, that is one lesson of Portia also, you see. That precise administration of justice, even on earth, is rarely possible. It's either this way or that way. See, suppose some ancillary does something wrong, burns up a house, destroys our property, and the court awards 20 years prison. What do the other people get who have lost so much? It is no satisfaction that the mercenaries, or what you call it, they have been punished. What does the loser get out of it, see? And in the court of the divine, is there any justice? I asked Babuji once, we were discussing, we had a long discussion. And something was said, and it was difficult for me to accept what Babuji said. I said, but Babuji, what about justice? He said, in the realm of God, in the divine realm, there is no such thing. Because justice and injustice are also part of a world where dualism prevails. Dvivida, yes and no, good and bad, black and white, justice and injustice. When you go beyond this, where is justice? See? So at least in the Hindu way of thought, I don't think there is much place given to justice or mercy. There is to grace. You see, the grace of God. We have no references to justice or mercy in the literature of Babuji Maharaj or Lalaji Maharaj. It is all about love and grace. And grace is something that is permanently coming down to us. And those who are ready to catch it. You see, a vessel can catch, suppose there's rain and you want to catch the rainwater. The bucket or whatever vessel you have got there must be open, not covered. A covered vessel cannot take anything. So we have to, our heart must be open because this is our vessel. To receive grace, this must be open. And if it has to be open, we must have fearlessness, we must have faith. And that faith alone is what keeps us, going strong. I won't say we go fearlessly, but we are not conscious of most of the fears that should have normally affected us. After my school education, where this Christianity was there, I went to Calcutta for it was then called intermediate exams, which is now the 9th and the 10th, I believe, 11th and 12th. And that too was St. Xavier's, a Christian institution. But there was not so much of religion in it because though a Christian institution, religion was not taught there. But in some way it was an extension of Christchurch, and then my St. Xavier's, the teachings. But when I went to Banaras Hindu University, there was a different branch, Banaras Hindu University, you see. And Saras Radhakrishnan was the Vice Chancellor. He was a very eminent philosopher who held a professor of philosophy in the Oxford University. And simultaneously Vice Chancellor of Banaras. He used to give us a few lectures every year, which we all went to listen very keenly. We never missed it. Because there also we had an examination. But it was not, part of the degree exam. But we were expected to pass. And it helped to have heard Dr. Radhakrishnan's lectures. These lectures were wonderful lectures. His Sanskrit was, fine, superb. And not only the university students, but students from the Allahabad University and where in Lucknow, all over, they used to come and participate in it. Pandits used to come. Famous philosophers used to come. And his Sanskrit was, as I said, superb. And the way he explained it was superb, And there I got my introduction to the Hindu part of our life. My father had, of course, given us introduction by making us learn some of the ordinary stotras, of the Hindu religion, of the Vaishnava branch of Hindus, by heart. Every morning he used to sit with us. We were three brothers. I am the only surviving one now. Every morning we had half an hour with him. It was not like a school class, It was by way of fun because while we were in the garden, either plucking flowers or pruning the rose trees, rose plants, we would recite all together what we were to learn. So it was easy learning, fun learning. And that was how we were introduced to the prayer part of the Hindu religion, the ritual part. And now when I look upon all this, I see the word, the road, not branching this way, but coming this way, like tributaries. The mainstream of life Christianity coming somewhere, Hinduism making its inroads here. Because after I finished with the Banaras University, when we came and went to Bombay and finally to Chennai, we used to have Veda Parayana very often, say 4 or 5 times a year. Half a dozen Pandits coming and reciting the Veda, Yajurveda, 4 or 5 days, morning and evening, total of about 5 hours a day, 25 hours, say, of recitation, without any text to refer to. It was something which is very, I won't say what to happen, but at least for me, it was something which took me to a different dimension. Hearing that for those 5 hours and for the next few days, I was personally transported to something different. See. I had always a contemplative, mind, I should say. From my childhood, I have wanted to be a brahmachari and like Vivekananda, do the Parivrajaka circumambulation of India, be a sannyasi. And I had always the desire to go to Badrinath. So this comes, that one more stream of approach to God sayings, of the philosophy of life. Only now I can see how each one of them contributed, see. Because by themselves, Christianity would have given me only ideas of mercy, compassion, and whatnot, you see. Hinduism, the law of karma, of how we have to reap what we sow, what you have done, you see. Strict, in a sense, not moral justice, but you are living life after life to redeem yourself or to teach yourself further in the next class of life by being reborn, rebirth, punarjanma. So all these things, when we combine it, I finally came to Sahaj Marg. I found that this was a very beautiful way, our way, which combines karma, bhakti and jnana. I once gave a lecture in Russia, and I humorously called it KGB, karma, jnana and bhakti, you see. Karma, jnana, this way, and the bhakti at the top, one equilateral triangle. And our marga is like that. There is karma, there is jnana. Karma is what we do, you see. And we are taught, we start with the 10 maxims, Do we follow them? Do we know them at least? I don't know. But those are the first few things we have to learn and to apply to our lives. Karma, jnana. See, jnana, we need some knowledge of what our karma, our Sahaj Marg Paddhati is about. Its philosophy, the thinking of the great ones behind it. And then these culminate to give us a bhakti, a way of how to surrender. Surrender with love, not because we are afraid or because somebody says, unless you surrender, like in the army, you will be so-and-so. We surrender with love. Lord, this I am. This is my karma. This is my bhakti, I have come to you. What do you do with me? And there comes the idea of grace, Babuji always used to emphasize grace, you see. So it is not here, in Sahaj Marg, it is not a question of punishment, strict law, no, this Talashi business, Talazu as we call it in North India, the balance. Grace, which in human terms you can call, the relationship between mother and child, which is love. Matra Prem. Mamta. That's why Babuji has said, the best way of taking or accepting your master is to accept him as your mother. Always love, eternal love. See, for me it is unfortunate that I came to Sahaj Marg very late because we didn't know anything about it. Even when I joined Sahaj Marg in 1964, the first Vasant in 65, I think, we were hardly 60 people, 45, 50, 60 people, including Babuji Maharaj. His courtyard was about as big as this hall, with a well here for the water, with some offices here, and his house behind that and that. And in winter, covered with this canopy, and terribly cold because Vasant Panchami is always cold. Hardly 50 people for the first Vasant, and total membership about 400. Today we are about 4 lakhs, 1,000 times, 400,000, perhaps more, perhaps less, I don't know. You say like any statistical figure dealing with a living movement, the figures change every second. Here people come, some leave also. So it's impossible to say at one precise moment how many members we have. But 400,000, see. And then came this ashram business. Before that we never had any. Everything was in Babuji's house. See, Babuji was always, too generous with us. I slept in a room like this in his house with about, 40 others. Another room, some 20. Under the pandal, some 40. In that cold, early morning, the well water, you see. We bathed in it at 4 o'clock. We started at 4 because 6:30 was satsang and we had to be ready. Everyone is in a hurry, So you see, that part of karma, the ritual part, you may call it bathing. Bathing as a ritual, you see, which we do when we go and dip in the Ganga without even cleaning ourselves, or at home with a few buckets of water thrown over the head. It's ritualistic. Do we really bathe in the sense that we clean ourselves, that we wash ourselves? So even such a small thing like a bath has a ritualistic part and a natural part. And if you want to enjoy it, it is a pleasure part. Where you go swimming, or you have a shower for 2 hours, or you have a bathtub if you are rich. So you see, every activity can have these components, a ritualistic part, something which is natural, and something which is for your cleaning. There again, as we say, as yesterday I said, the maintenance part must begin with you. Is this clean? Is that which covers this, the body, is it clean? Because if you see our literature, it says, with mind and body, pure early morning, before sunrise. Isn't it? It does not mean you must have a bath before you start your puja, meditation. Babaji uses puja and dhyan, meditation, interchangeably. Because for us, that's why I emphasized yesterday, this is worship. We are not atheists, you know. We are very much theists without any ritualistic part attached to it. Other people may criticize and say he doesn't go to temples, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Here they are atheists. But I have, had very strong arguments, hard arguments, sometimes bitter arguments with old people to whom I have said, you are a ritualist. You do everything that your rituals prescribe. But I don't think you are atheist, you don't believe in God. You are not really worshipping God, you are worshipping this idol. And we may not do all the things that you do, but we are really worshipping God. He said, where is your God? Because you don't go to temple, where is your God? I said, here. So he said, oh, you are God in yourself. It takes them, it's very difficult for them to understand this Sahaj Marg idea. Though we talk about the Antaryamin in the Vedas again and again, about which Dr. Radhakrishnan used to teach in Benares University in the early 40s. So what he said was all these things tie up, you see. And then when I look back now, I can see clearly the different tributaries, which have contributed to my life. My life meaning the life of this who is inside me. Because it is through his life that I am alive. And if he is eternal, I am eternal. And therefore, if he is clean, I am clean. Therefore, even the best bath will not make me clean unless this is clean. A vessel, for by buying milk, if it is polished outside but is not clean inside, it's no use. Whereas if it is clean inside, it's good enough for the purpose for which you have it, isn't it? But we are always trying to keep the outside clean. Like I said yesterday, washing and cleaning our homes and throwing the rubbish outside on the road. Therefore, our cities are dirty, the surroundings of our temples are dirty. Everywhere we are dirt fills. You go to a railway station, you cannot stand on the platform. You all know why. So, ashram maintenance means I am the first ashram. Within me is my meditation place. So, in a sense, God is within me. I am the worshipper. And when we reach a particular stage where we can identify ourselves with what we think is God, the unification or the ability to say that I have approached divinization. They're all there. In a way, this is also the three aspects of, Visishta, Dvaita, Advaita, and Dvaita, all combined together. You see how beautiful Sahaj Marg is. But only when we come to that particular stage, when we have dropped off everything else, when we have no more identification with any religion or any philosophy or any culture, but only with the truth of what we are, with the reality of what we are, which is a spiritual realization. It is not got by education, it is got by practice, by sadhana. then only can we say we combine KGV, Karma Jnana Bhakti, into Dvaita plus Advaita plus Vishtadvaita in a certain way, and come to the culmination when we say, what are we? Well, we are trying to become like him. We are on the path. We are abhyasis. And if you are devoted to him and follow him, especially the 10 maxims, keeping everything clean, doing everything as prescribed, maintaining discipline inside and outside, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, all these sort of things. We are disciples. Disciple means, as Babaji said, one following the discipline. And the first discipline is cleanliness. See. So ashram maintenance means so many things, you see. It means a total concept of the Sahaj Marg way of life. Cleanliness of speech. It doesn't mean my grammar must be clean, vyakaran and all that sort of thing, you see. My intonation, the way of expression. It's not that. Cleanliness of speech means, as Babaji said, say what you mean what you say. That is cleanliness. That is truth. So clean way of speaking is the truthful way of speaking. Mean what you say is what you mean. Ashram, clean inside, clean outside. Isn't it? Behavior, preach what you are and become what you preach. It's no use saying one thing to abhyasis and becoming yourself something else. It's like the doctor who's smoking and tells his patient, my dear friend, it can lead to cancer. You understand? So ashram maintenance it embraces such a universality, a totality of so many things, that you could write a book about it. I hope someday some of you will emerge to that level and write books about these things, because, our Sahaj Marg literature will expand with the experiences of our abhyasis, and that becomes purer and purer. By clean, I don't mean physical cleanliness, purity of thought, purity of word, purity of life. So when we do that, we also find that we can say more and more by speaking less and less. The Shrutis, Satyam Vada, 2 words. Dharmam Chara, 2 words. So then we become like the seed, you see. The seed carries the life of the tree in it. When it germinates, it becomes a small seedling, then a sapling, then a small plant, then a tree. Then that yields fruit, from which becomes a whole generation of life, new life. So seed to fruit to seed, it goes on eternally. So from that grows the idea of parampara. See, how only if it is pure, it can lead to pure seeds, pure next generation, pure seeds, pure next generation. See, that is why in our Sahaj Marg tradition, there is so much nowadays in the whispers about the Sahaj Marg tradition itself, the Paddhati as we call it in Sanskrit, about the parampara, the hierarchy, purity, passing on purity, passing on purity. There must be no taint, no contamination at any stage. See, and this purity must help this aspiring one to become what it is. So the elders have a duty to show the way, the younger have a duty to follow that way. So see cleanliness, purity, step by step, see. It's not enough if the first few steps are clean, and then it is slippery and you can fall and break your head. As Babaji said, we must leave the world as well as it is if we cannot make it better. So, brothers and sisters, this is the message of Sahaj Marg. This is what AMC stands for. KGP, all in one. Three philosophies combined into one. Advaita, Vasishtva, Advaita, Daivta, all here. Because as Babaji said, here everything is there. Is he Advaita? Is he Dvaita? Babaji used to laughingly say, it's both or neither. He can be Dvaita, he can be Advaita. See? When he is unmanifest, what is he? When he manifests himself, he can be anything. Like the Dashavatara, see. Or as we grow in spirituality, we are all manifestations of divinity covered over with a great deal of grossness. And we remove this grossness and become purer and purer, lighter and lighter. We manifest what we have inside. The light becomes more and more clean, more and more clear, more and more powerful, more and more shining. You see? Until the light is there, I am not there. In a dark night, when you hold a lamp, you are not visible. The lamp is seen, and the light is seen. Must be like that, you see. When we grow in spirituality, we must be like that. This must be seen. The light must show the way. The one who holds the light becomes unseen. So, having said all this, I now thank you for the get well card you have all signed and given me. I thank you for it. And now I shall try to give you a sitting.